Good morning, everyone. I feel like I'm talking to my students. So, some of you wanted to know how I teach in class. Yesterday, I recorded my regular ESL class, but I forgot, like, somehow it didn't work out. So, anyway, and then at night, of course, I had my writing service center. So, I had a student. I've been working with her for 3 years, I think. When she came to me, she was like a second year of university, and now she's third year, fourth year, and we were working on philosophy. Oh man, philosophy! Like I don't even know what I was doing there. So the difficult part at the writing center uh, is not about how to write essay. It's like how you can understand what they're saying without looking at their textbooks and assignments. And some of them do have assignments and they will show you what the requirements are, but most of the assignments are pretty vague. That's when professors need to do a better job. um, Talking about text analysis, and then of course I had to figure out what text analysis was, but fortunately I actually know what that is, and we did a good job on that part. However, we were talking about Socrates and talking about his philosophy, and it's a bug. Sorry. Um, when there's a bug, when there are bugs walking around, I'm just okay. Never mind. So we're talking about Socrates and his philosophy. So she picked this part, and she had this sentence. I was kind of like, not really sure because she said something like a true philosopher would want to die. So first of all, um, I don't think that's a human nature. I don't think, most of people wouldn't want to die. So I was asking her, why do you want to say that? And then went through everything. And then she basically just had words. There was no ideas, just bullet points. And she was hoping to uh, get me to help her sort out her ideas and put them into paragraphs, and that's what we normally do. That's why she kind of likes me, because I always kind of give her some inspiration ideas, and she can organize her essay and structure. So we did that, and then figure out. So I said, can you show the quote you found, and then I can maybe read and understand better about the death. So I really think a true philosopher would want to die is really awkward and weird to see in an essay, and it doesn't really sound very academic. So then she showed me the quote, and then I realized that I don't think that means that the philosopher wants to die. I think it means that a true philosopher would not fear death, as practicing philosophy is part of practicing death. So, and then they were talking about, the separation from the soul to, the separation between the soul and the body, and how like you attend your knowledge. That's not because your bodily senses, and they should be something else. And then there is a plateau and a lot of things. I'm like, oh my God, why am I doing that for 45 minutes? And my mind was like, has gone crazy. Anyway, so we figured that out, and there is part of the teaching thing, not teaching thing, it's more like a giving a guidance. So not a lot talking, but I thought that would be something interesting to share with you guys. But funny thing is, what is we're talking about philosophers from different country about death, and then it's like American philosophers will be like, I would die for freedom. And French philosophers will be like, I would die for love. And the British philosopher will be like, I would die for honor. And then here comes your Russian philosophers, just say, I would die. So I thought that was really funny. I don't know why. Maybe you probably find that really dry, but I like dry humor. Anyway, so yeah, just have a look at. Okay, so you guys want to see me teaching, and I forgot to record today. I kind of had a good class this morning, but I have a writing session coming up, so I'm going to record that part. Hopefully, it's going to be good. Okay, so basically, you have to analyze the structure. It really sounds like what the writing tutors do. So when you do summary, try to remove, it's not unnecessary words, it's more like adjectives, if you know what I mean. It's try to state basic structure. You don't have to have very modifiers to describe certain sentences or the structure. So you just stay with the main idea, what it basically talks about there, and that's it. So this part, it's fine to me, but it doesn't sound like you are talking. Yeah, you know what I mean. It sounds more like you're trying so hard to cut pieces and then put them together here. What are you trying to do here? Like those 2 points? Are you? The first one, I'm not really sure how you will go with that. It's just because it's too simple. I can't see any content yet, but I definitely like the second part. I think there's a lot you can talk about, especially the part that he believes, soul is soul and body is body, and then how you can analyze from there. Why does he think so? Is there any proof that he actually secretly or implicitly show you, hey, that's why I'm saying that, so you can. It does remind me of some other Chinese philosophers. They do that, but since you're not going to use outside resources, so I think maybe just not mention it. But for me, I feel like this one is part of this one. So you're still talking about the separation of the soul from the body, and then it just from kind of slightly different angle to say some other philosophers do the same thing and then don't care about their bodies because they want to really attain knowledge or focus on what they're doing. Okay, so now what I want you to do is to now look at those things here. Give me a structure of what you're going to write and how you're going to write. I don't know if you remember what we talked about a long time ago, and you have introduction. You're going to talk about this certain topic, but how are you going to develop your body paragraphs, right? That's the structure you need to follow. And once you have each part for the section, let's say you're talking about section 1, and your section 1 is this, the separation of the soul from the body. And are you going to talk about second one, right? And then what is that point? So in that way, you will stay more organized. Because doing this, I feel like this part and this part are all about why they think. It's all about like separation of the soul from the body, but just from slightly different point of views. And it's more like you have a section 1, and then you can have 3 small paragraphs under section 1 to talk about something different, but those 3 body paragraphs are still related to your section 1. So I think, like we said, this is a proof. You have to say why they don't think so, why they don't think such things are not connected to their soul, and those are just purely physical pleasure. So this is just my example. I'm not sure if it's proper here or not, but I'm just thinking eating good food, having nice drink, or having sex, good sex, would be different of someone who has poor quality food and drink and doesn't even have sex. With the people with the poor quality of stuff will still generate a nice philosophy, or people with a better quality of life will have definitely smarter brain, And another thing is, since you mentioned that, would be good stuff distractive. When you have a really good life, will you be more likely to enjoy your life, Or when you have a poor conditions, you're more likely to focus on yourself and the mind, and you can actually have a better philosophy. Because most philosophers are what's the word? They kind of had their poor life, but they have very strong mind, and that's why they can have their books with all kinds of ideas. You know what I mean. It's more like that. Okay, so I just finished my morning class. This is a reading and writing class. Basically, just me talking. So that's why I don't really have many videos posting recently, because I've done a lot of talking. At the end of the day, I just want to shut up and be quiet and enjoy my moments. So that's why I haven't updated yet. Anyway, so when I teach this level about reading and writing, I really enjoy it because their levels are really high at CLB 5 and 6. I probably will check what that means when referring to IELTS, so I will list that descriptions here. So I can talk about how to read, such as skimming and scanning, and how to write. Then I could talk about structures, how to have your introduction, how to organize your paragraphs. And that's something I really want to do. I mean, it's not like I don't like teaching ESL. It's just sometimes if you only teach basic things as a non-native speaker, how are you going to keep up with your own English competency, right? So with this, I still need to learn a lot because I have to convert complex ideas or concepts into a simple way so they can understand. That really is something I'm still working on it. Hopefully I'm doing, but anyway, my students like me, so with the further ado, I want to show you some clips of me teaching, explaining the reading. I will also post the reading I was talking about here too, so maybe you can have a look and follow along. I don't know. Yeah, have a look. Provide your own example, right? So it is your own example, but it doesn't mean that you can give random examples here. So provide your own example of local circumstance that might cause a school to implement additional masking measures. So before you give your own example, you have to understand what are local circumstances, situations, your environment, your surroundings, what is going on in London. That's local. Okay, what's happening in Toronto is not my business. There are, excuse me, there are a lot of cases in Brampton. Well, I don't travel to Brampton, so while I wish them good luck, hopefully they will be safe, but it's far from here. As long as they don't travel to London, I'm safe, right? So that is not local. Circumstances is the cases. Some of you gave me a really good answer. And when you use that word, it's be exempt. Here you go. Google suggested me that. I'll do that. Be exempted from something. So let's say, oh my God, I love Nelly so much. Okay, I just love her so much. So everybody has to do a test except for Nelly, because Nelly is too cute and Nelly is exempt from the test. And I say, you know how to do the test? Good for me. So that means, oh, there's exceptions and she doesn't have to do it, right? She doesn't have to do it. So the paragraph here start with the reasonable. Okay, you can't be ridiculous. I was being ridiculous. Okay, so why? I'm cute too. Nelly's not the only one. Right? So you have to be reasonable. Reasonable exceptions to the requirement to wear masks are expected. So you see a lot of words, a lot of this. When you see a phrase or a word or expression more than 3 times, it means you really need to remember that. Okay, that is a common word and that is a high frequency word. So you really need to remember that. We've seen so many times of are expected to. So maybe you can use that, make your own sentences and use that in your real life and see how that goes. Okay. Subject verb. reasonable exceptions are expected to be put in place. What kind of reasonable exceptions? That's your additional information. Exceptions like to the requirement to wear masks. Okay, so we're not talking about dress code, and we're not talking about food, or we're not talking about perfume or cologne. We're talking about requirement to wear masks. So that is the exceptions you need to kind of really think about that are expected. So there are some things that we have to think, that person doesn't have to do this. So what are the exceptions? That's the next one they're talking about. Boards are asked to carefully review their masking exceptions policies and ensure that students are supported to wear masks to the greatest extent possible. Okay,
So the difference between teaching university writing or teaching university students and regular ESL students is sometimes I have students that they don't come here just only for writing. So at university, they don't come here only for writing. They're here for everything, right? So they want to know how to write an essay. They want to know how to have a better wording, or sometimes they even need help from the content. Of course, we have content tutors, but then when it comes to writing, you can't really separate the content with the writing, right? From the writing. So I have to, for example, the one I just showed you, I have to work with the philosophy. And with this girl, we've been through philosophy, women's studies, religion, history, and some other kind of things that I got. Wow, I learned a lot, and that's a part of the reason I really like this job is my university job is I learn a lot, not only about the language but also something else. So I feel like I'm always challenging myself and I'm trying to move up a little bit more. With teaching ESL, it's basically just about grammar, structure, reading, listening, and other four skills. So I like that too because before my English got better, my grammar was not good. So I need the foundation. And how am I going to get to the foundation? By teaching my students. So I learned a lot, kind of reinforced my knowledge about grammar and other things. And that's how I grow. And some of you say, well, how do you practice your English, or how do you practice your reading? By doing it. Seriously, like I had no choice. I'm sure if I didn't have this job or didn't have to do it, my English level wouldn't be at right now. But because I had to do it and I need to know way better than anyone else, so I can explain. Explaining things is another skill that some people might not have, and I need to master that because my students will ask really weird questions, and some of the questions are not even related to the topic I'm talking about. So how are you going to handle that? So that's the difference. But right now, I'm really happy about my levels here and my work at the university. So I'm a happy person. I no longer was a miserable bay like what I was in summer. But hopefully, I can keep up with this good vibe and then continue. So, and also, I hope you don't find this video boring. But you know what? If it's boring, it's up there. You already watched it. And so if you're already watching it, don't forget to give me a thumbs up. And I promise you, I will do a better job on videos. And there are a lot of things going on. And I'm planning a lot of things as well. So I will have a lot of videos coming up soon. So stay tuned and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye, guys.